So today's is about clearing the clutter, and I don't know if I'm really ready for this one because I got a lot of clutter, and it's a lot of good clutter. I mean, I've shopped at yard sales for a good 15 years now, and I'm sort of emotionally attached to my clutter. It makes me feel safe. I like it. I like where it is, and I don't know that I want to get rid of any of it. It's a great goal to have, but you know, who knows if you really want to tackle that, because my house is a little bit like the Smithsonian. Only 10% is ever on display. We've got an attic and basement full, and I kind of like having options of going and getting some more stuff to bring up to clutter a little bit more. But when I think about clutter, I inevitably think about the Proverbs 31 woman and how awesome she was at everything, cleaning her house. She was amazing, and she's a great example. But for years, for decades, for centuries, we've been trying to live up to her example of amazing awesomeness. And if you read the text carefully, I think you discover that she might have had a few problems. It says there that she brings her food from afar, clearly a reference to bringing fast food home. And then it says her lamp doesn't go out at night. Maybe insomniac. She also keeps a watch on everyone in her house and makes sure they're productive. Control freak. And also it says, if you read the text, she likes to knit and sew. Maybe a Pinterest addict, I don't know. But it says also that she rises up early and gives a portion of meat to her maidservants. Now I ask you, who couldn't be kind and industrious if someone else was handling all the sweeping?
Today's lesson is there's no place like home. We're going to be clearing the clutter and creating the comfort. In the classic movie, The Wizard of Oz, the heroine Dorothy has lost her way. It's not until the finale that she realizes all she needs to do is click the heels together of her ruby red slippers and say, "There's no place like home. There's no place like home." For each of us, the idea of home will conjure up different thoughts and different feelings. For me, it's in Georgia. When I was a young girl, my mom would load my brother and I up into the car, and we would trek down the East Coast over 600 miles to go visit her parents. Now, this was before the day of email and video chat, even before unlimited long distance. So we did not communicate very often, and it could be a bit awkward with relatives you only saw once a year. But their home was so warm and welcoming that any distance that existed in our relationship quickly melted away. It wasn't the decor or that it was clean and tidy. It was the special touches that she put in place because she knew we were coming. It really made us feel wanted. And I can still smell the cookies. Their home was a refuge for us, a place where we could recharge. The challenges of this life can leave us weary, and the world is becoming increasingly hostile. We need a place where we can let down our guard, take off our armor, and relax. It's important that our homes provide a sense of relief, a refuge. Let's take a look at what God's image of a home is in Isaiah 32:18. It says, "My people will live in peaceful dwelling places, in secure homes, in undisturbed places of rest." Isaiah was telling the women that this type of home is a reward when we stop being complacent and return to God. It was a reward for righteousness. If we are living in the Holy Spirit, we can make our homes look like that now. When we intentionally put warmth and affection into our home, it promotes peace. When we apply the lessons that we have learned in this study on kindness and loving our husband and parenting, then our families feel safe and secure. And when we create comfortable environments, then our homes will provide the most rest possible for our family. And as women, we're tasked to make our homes warm and comfortable and inviting. When I was first married, I had a small little house, and it would have been great if I had followed my mother's example of good housekeeping, but that wasn't the case. Our house was a mess. I worked full-time, and I just ignored the house during the day. But my husband's parents lived about 10 minutes away and had this habit of just stopping in unannounced, and I'd be so embarrassed by the mess. so that on Friday nights we would come home and we would do a week's worth of dishes and do a week's worth of laundry, and we'd clean up all the clutter, usually by putting it into a cardboard box and shoving it upstairs. By next Friday, it was a mess again, and this was our routine for years. So fast forward, we moved to Georgia, we have a baby, we have more stuff, they have a lot of stuff for little people, and we have less time and bigger mess. But my pattern hadn't changed. My aunt had called to say she was coming over with her brand new video camera to film my baby. I was mortified. The bedrooms were a wreck. The bathrooms were a wreck. I was a wreck. When our home is out of sorts, we are not reflecting the orderliness of God. In fact, 1 Corinthians says that our God is not a God of disorder, but of peace. If we want a home that is peaceful, then creating order is a good place to start. Clutter that sits around is like a snowball. It starts off small, and the longer it goes, the bigger it gets. And before long, it has taken over the entire house. At our house, it starts with the mail. If I don't deal with it daily, it starts to grow. And then it's followed by other piles, the coats, the laundry, the dishes. When our homes have so much stuff in them, we have to ask ourselves why. Are we just being greedy and holding on to things? Are we overly sentimental and we have a memory associated with everything so we can't part with it? Are we just indecisive? We can't decide, should we keep it? Should we throw it away? So we make no decision at all. Or perhaps the reason our house gets messy is more inside. We're lazy. We just don't want to deal with it. Or maybe we're too busy and our home is not a priority. Or maybe we just don't value our home. We don't see what the benefit is of a clean home for our family. Numerous studies have been published to support the fact that children do better in a clean home. For me, I just didn't value our home like we should. There were so many other things I would rather be doing. Cleaning my house was not one of them. But once I started to view my home through the lens of Scripture, my heart changed. Once we desire a home that pleases God, it's time to get to work. So we're going to clear the clutter, clean our homes, and create the comfort. It can be overwhelming if it doesn't come naturally. So we're going to start one room at a time. So let's gather our materials. We're going to need a bin for garbage. We're going to need a bin for items we're not keeping, whether we sell them at a yard sale or whether we give them away. And then we're going to have a bin for the things we are keeping but are displaced. Now comes the hard part, decluttering. King Solomon tells us exactly what we need to do in Ecclesiastes. It's a time to keep and a time to throw away. I realized as I was teaching my daughters to clean their room that their idea of clutter and mess is very different from mine. So in your workbook, I have included a list of commonly overlooked items of clutter. So you can take a look at that when you're working on your house. But if you have a hard time deciding what you're going to keep, there's some questions you can ask. If you use it regularly, that's obvious, you're going to hold on to it. If it's something you love, you're going to hold on to it. But if it's something you're holding on to out of expectation or obligation, you might want to consider parting with it. If you're holding on to something because you might need it in the future, well, let me tell you about my college textbooks. I held on to them just as a reference. Now, I graduated in technology. They were outdated as soon as I took my cap and gown off. And do you have multiples of the item? Do you really need 47 food storage containers? 10 toiletry kits? You get the idea. Once we decide we're going to get rid of something, it will go into the bin that we're going to sell or get rid of. And if it's something that we're going to keep and it belongs in the room, we want to just go ahead and put it away. But if it's something that we're going to keep and it belongs in another room, we want to put it in the bin for displaced objects. Because if it was something that belongs in the kitchen, we'd go to the kitchen and see something that belongs in the bathroom. Then we go to the bathroom, see something that belongs in our daughter's room, and next thing you know, we haven't finished our room. So we'll put it in the bin, and when it is full, then we'll go around the house putting everything away and returning back to this one room we were working on. It took a while to become a mess, so it's going to take a while to clean the mess. It could take several days to declutter. But you want to enlist the help of family. You want to make it fun, maybe put on some music, bebop as you go, and plan a little incentive, some little treat or reward to have when the job is all done. Now that the room is clear of clutter, it's time to clean it. And we're going to clean everything from top to bottom. The light fixtures, the knobs, the baseboards, everything. So again, we're going to gather our materials and we're going to bring them into the room. I like to carry all of my cleaning supplies in a tote. I have all my products, all the tools that I need, all in one handy tote. You could use a simple bucket, but I've even seen these little aprons that you wear that have pockets in there, so everything is right within reach. Whatever you decide, we're going to clean the room. Now, rarely do I have time to clean the whole house in one day. So I find for me, when I clean the house, I'll do my bedrooms on Monday, my bathrooms on Tuesday. I just kind of break it up so that the whole house doesn't become a mess again. So find time to schedule your cleaning in your house. Now, we've spent a great deal of effort getting rid of the clutter and cleaning our house. We want to protect our cleaning efforts. We don't want to have to work so hard to get our house back to the clean state. You've heard the saying, a place for everything and everything in its place. If there's something that repeatedly sits out, make sure it actually has a home and that everybody knows where it is. There's a few things that we did for our family that really helped keep our house a lot tidier. We started a no temporary location policy, which meant that we didn't put things down, just for a minute. We really would try to put things away as soon as we were done with them. So when we take our coats off, we hang them up right away instead of putting them on the banister or on the couch. When we're done watching a movie, we go ahead and put it in its case, then put it in the cabinet. Or if we play a game, it goes right back in the box and into the closet. That step alone, we made huge strides in keeping our house clean. We also tried to spend about 10 to 15 minutes, usually at the end of the day around dinner time, just kind of tidying up from the day's activities. And when my kids were younger, I did something called quarantine. If they left something out that was supposed to be put away, I would just take it and put it in quarantine, and then they'd have to do a job for me in order to get it out. It taught them it was more work to go back to put something away than do it right the first time. One of the ways we can help our families be neater is to solve some of the problems that make our house a mess in the first place. If your kitchen island always seems to have papers piled up on it or your kitchen table, perhaps you need an easy way to file your papers that's close to the kitchen. If you often have laundry sitting on the bathroom floor, it never seems to quite make it to the hamper in the laundry room. Maybe you need to put a hamper in the bathroom. Or are your kitchen counters always full? Do you have enough room in your cabinets? Maybe you need some storage outside of your kitchen. Recently, we remodeled our kitchen. We had to empty everything out. So I took the opportunity to just reassess everything we had in there. I took some of the small appliances that I only use once or twice a year and stored them down in the basement. And we had a toy closet that we no longer used that was right off of the kitchen. So I took the toys out and I made it a pantry. So now I have all the foods that I use to cook every day and the open boxes of snacks and cereal right in the kitchen. Everything else is in the pantry. I love it. I simply love it. By understanding how mess occurs, we can take the steps necessary to prevent it from happening again. In your workbook, I have included an organizational list, room by room, of lots of tips to get you started in organizing your house. There are also great magazines, and the internet has tons of ideas to inspire you for your unique individual challenges that you'll have organizing in your home. Everything does not need to be matching and interlocking and exactly just right, though it looks really pretty. Remember, the goal in organizing our home is to be able to retrieve things easily and, more importantly, put them away. I certainly don't want to be the only one who can clean my house, so I want to make sure I have a method that works for my whole family. As a homemaker, we are responsible for keeping our house orderly and making it comfortable. The Bible uses the word comfort many times, seeming to imply that we need it. Comfort means to console, to strengthen, to lift one's spirits. There are physical and practical things that we can do to our homes to provide restful places for those who live there and visit. Every home should be a refuge, a cozy place where they can get rest. In Numbers, it says, "How fair are your tents, O Jacob, your dwellings, O Israel." That original word for fair is tov, and it means pleasing or delightful. Now, the Bible does not tell us how to decorate our homes, but it does seem to imply that they're attractive. Look around your home and see how you can make your home beautiful and comfortable for those who live in it. That's what my grandmother had done. Her home was beautiful, yet comfortable. We were not afraid to play in the living room. We were welcome to be in the kitchen while she was cooking, and the bedrooms were all ready for us with special little touches. Her home said welcome the minute we walked through the door, and that's a feeling that I want to emulate in my home. When coming home, we are shifting from the public world, which can be harsh and a downright mean place, to our private world. The space between the world and our home is the entryway, and it helps our family transition home if we have a landing zone for them, kind of a place to anticipate their needs. You know, they're going to have coats. They need a place to put their coats, in a closet, on a coat rack, maybe some hooks by the door. You know, a table with a lamp will provide light when it's dark out. And a little basket for their keys and cell phones will keep those things from getting lost. And how about a place for those book bags and the computer cases? We just want to kind of anticipate what their needs are and provide it right there at the entryway. All of our homes should be comfortable and cozy, not a museum, but easy to live in. We want to take into account our family's personality. Our homes that have young children in them are going to look very different from an adult-only home. As we're buying furniture for our house, furniture comes in all shapes and sizes, but not all of it is comfortable. So you want to try it before you buy it. My husband, he likes to take an occasional nap on the couch. So before we bought our couch, he laid down on every single sofa in the store. And personally, I like the looks of elegant furniture, but my family likes to put their feet up on the table. I would be very frustrated if I was constantly cleaning footprints off of the table. So we really need to take our family's personality into account. Any room can be updated and freshened up with decorator pillows and throw blankets. You know, when one of those nice little soft blankets is thrown over the arm of a chair, over the back of a couch, they're readily available to just pull up and have that occasional nap. And you know, curling up with a good book is just as restorative as a nap. A reading nook in your home practically screams comfort with a big comfy chair and a table, side table, and a lamp. You know, great way to just disengage and rest. And books themselves look attractive on a bookcase with lots of knickknacks and pictures. For those of us who have kids, we know that kids love to see pictures of themselves. And pictures add such warmth and character to a home, though it's very easy to overdo it. We cannot talk about making our home comfortable without talking about our most private place. That would be our bedroom. It should be a place of rest and relaxation. Office work and crafts and other activities should be done in another room if possible. You know, nothing feels as good at the end of the day than climbing into a clean, well-made bed. We can make it so cozy, it's hard to get out of in the morning. You know, we're going to start with a mattress pad. Even the firmest of mattresses can be made soft and pillowy with a mattress pad. And you can quickly take that mattress pad off and throw it in the wash and keep it clean. Whereas that mattress, you can't really wash that. Then we're going to top that pad off with some sheets. I like to have 2 sets, one to make the bed while the other one is washing. 100% cotton is going to wear best for you, with Egyptian and Pima cotton being the softest. Then we're going to choose our pillows. They come in all kinds of density, from feather soft to foam that's nice and dense, whatever support is best for you. But they also make protective covers for the pillows, and that's a great idea to keep it hygienic. Then we're going to top it off with our coverings. We're going to have a blanket, a lightweight one in the summertime, heavier one in the winter. Top it all off with a bedspread or a matelassé for a bed that's not only neat but beautiful. For so many years, my cleaning routine involved stuffing things upstairs in my bedroom, that part of the heart change for me was recognizing how special the room is that has my marriage bed in it. So I wanted to make it a place that we wanted to be in. And every room needs light. In Genesis, God said, "Let there be light," and the earth was filled with light. However, in our homes, we have to provide the lighting. A well-lit room just says, "Welcome, come on in." Yet those overhead lights, they can be very harsh. If that's what you have in your home, install one of those dimmers. Then you can set the tone of lighting with the dimmer. But the best option are table lamps. They come in all sorts of styles. They match any home. And with the choice of light bulbs these days, we can set the tone in our house with the lighting. And we don't have to limit those lamps to tables. We can put them in unusual places to just add extra ambiance, on fireplace mantles, in those bookcases, on kitchen counters. Just be careful of the cords. You know, there are so many finishing touches that we can add to a home. We can light scented candles for a pleasing aroma. We can display some magazines so that we can have a moment's pause during the day. And music will set the tone, any kind of music that we want. Because of the special touches that my grandparents had in their house, my grandparents' house was a refuge for us. As an adult, I moved to Georgia, and now my grandmother is in her 90s and lives in a small condo not far from us. When I call to say I'm on my way, she puts the kettle on, she clips out a little article from the paper for us to discuss, and she turns on her gas fireplace. Is it any wonder I visit her often? You know, as a keeper of the home, we have the privilege of making a place where our family wants to linger and where friends are at ease. And when our surroundings are clean and orderly, it's much easier for us to relax and enjoy our home. And the effort we spend in creating a comfortable environment is going to refresh our family spirit and restore their strength. Our homes will reflect the peaceful dwelling place and secure home that God described in Isaiah for a place of undisturbed rest. That is how an amazing woman keeps her home.
I live my home life between two tensions: my desire to have a neat, organized house, and the reality of having a wonderful husband, 3 precious children, and a dog. Some days I beat the clutter, and some days the clutter beats me. But I am engaged in the battle. Practically speaking, I spend time each day going through what comes in the house, try to throw away as much mail as possible. There are places for the backpacks, the diaper bag, the lunch boxes, coats, sweaters, shoes, and so on. Each child has a large tub, and I place interesting things they make or cards they receive in there. My girls do a pretty good job of keeping their rooms neat and orderly. However, about every 6 months, we will do a total clean out of their rooms. And it is amazing the clutter that finds its way into the recesses of their fairly small rooms. This is a spiritual battle because God can use anything to teach us. And He has used clutter, mess, and my desire to have everything in its place to grow me into more dependence on Him. There are 2 forces at work in my house that work in opposition to my very strong desire to have a neat home. One is a law of physics. switch is everything moves from order to disorder. And if you watch my house from 6 in the morning to 6 in the evening, that is what happens if I am not vigilant. The second force at work in my house is a proverb my mom was fond of speaking when I was young. Where there are no oxen, the stable is clean. I did not have a true appreciation for this proverb until I had my own children. I didn't understand my mom was probably saying it to herself more than to us, to remind herself to have joy in the clutter, to be thankful for the mess. My stable, so to speak, is filled with oxen, precious gifts from God, and I must choose to be thankful for the oxen and care for the stable with joy. One day my house will be quiet and neat because one day the children will be grown up and gone. And unless I choose to clear the clutter with joy today, I may be filled with sadness and regret when that day does come. My oldest turned 10 just a couple weeks ago, and I cannot believe how fast the first decade of motherhood has gone. I thank God gives me glimpses of this reality, this brief time I have to invest in my family in the midst of the daily clutter, so that while I work at clearing the clutter, I have a right perspective. One that, if I do depend on the Lord, allows me to live in the wonderful tension of caring for the stable and loving my oxen with joy.